Welcome to the Mary Potter Podcast. Ready for another weekly magical probe into the fascinating world of wizarding flash fiction?
You bet. Two wild tales coming up, all about the weight of knowing what might be, and then the pull of wanting to be someone else. Think mystical thrillers mixed with reality-bending adventures, in that wizarding world style.
So, kicking off our magical probe this week, we've got a flash fiction story called Echoes of Ruin. And this one, oh boy, it just throws you right into this really, really unsettling situation. Imagine a diviner, right, who sees her own hand, causing the death of her best friend. And it's not some vague premonition either. It's like a full-blown vision.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What really gets you about this prophecy is how brutally specific it is. So we've got Izzy, our diviner. She sees this whole scene play out in her mind. I mean, vivid details, sunlight flashing off a broken amulet, like rain-slicked cobblestones, that kind of image. And then Maya, her best friend, with this look of total betrayal on her face. And then the worst part, the absolutely worst part, Izzy realizes she's the one holding the weapon. Talk about a direct and personal premonition of tragedy.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, just try to put yourself in her shoes for a second. This isn't some far-off threat, right? This is your closest friend, someone you care about deeply, and you're the one destined to hurt them. Yeah, how do you even begin to process that? How do you move forward in that friendship knowing what you think you know?
Right. It's like this huge psychological weight just slams down on Izzy. She's not just living in the present anymore. She's constantly being dragged back to this potential future, this horrible future. Every conversation, every little thing they do together, it's all seen through the lens of this terrifying vision. It makes you wonder, could a simple argument be the trigger? What about a gift, something meant to be nice? Could that somehow be twisted into the weapon from the vision? The story really captures that feeling of being trapped, suffocating almost, under the fear of fulfilling a destiny you desperately want to avoid.
And the thing is, Izzy's not totally helpless, right?
Right.
This is where the magic comes in, where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
See, Izzy's got this unique ability she can actually see and even mess with threads of time. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Picture a crowded marketplace, people everywhere, and Izzy, she sees this subtle, tear in reality right there in the middle of it all.
Pretty wild concept, right? The idea that time, the timeline, isn't just this fixed, unchangeable thing. Totally. When you think about prophecies in fantasy, in magic, they often feel so absolute, right? Like this unbreakable chain of events. But Izzy's ability to maybe possibly change the timeline, that's a curveball. It makes you think about free will versus destiny in a whole new light. Can we actually change what's supposed to happen, or are we just playing our part in a script that's already written?
Well, Izzy decides to put all her energy, her focus into that tear in the fabric of time.
Yeah.
She figures that's got to be the key, right? That's where she can maybe make a difference. And the story really highlights how delicate and difficult this process is. I mean, she's basically weaving counterspells, trying to stitch reality back together. It makes you hold your breath, wondering, is she fixing things or is she making things worse? And when the vision of Maya's death starts to fade a little, it offers this glimmer of hope, but it's definitely not a guarantee.
But here's the thing, and this is where it gets really insightful. The more Izzy tries to protect Maya, the more she acts on what she thinks she knows about the future, the more she ends up pushing Maya away in the present. It's like her warnings about the marketplace. They're vague. They don't make sense to Maya. And then Izzy starts acting super cautious. Like during meals, even her protective charms are all caught off. It's a classic case of good intentions backfiring. Trying too hard to control things can actually make them spin out of control.
Absolutely. I mean, she's trying to steer Maya away from danger, right?
Yeah.
But her actions, they end up creating this different kind of distance between them, a breakdown in trust and understanding. And the irony is, instead of the prophecy fading, it actually gets stronger, sharper with each attempt to change it. Makes you think, doesn't it? Our perception of things, especially when fear is involved, can totally warp how we act and how others see us.
And that leads to a moment that is just, so powerful. Remember that freak gust of wind in the marketplace? The one that causes the robbery and Maya's amulet to shatter? Well, guess what? That gust of wind, it was directly linked to Izzy's tampering with time. It's like her attempt to fix things actually caused this whole other event to happen. So, yeah, maybe the original path to tragedy was averted, but her actions still led to something bad. It shows how interconnected everything is and how easily the timeline can be disrupted.
I bet the moment when Maya shows Izzy the broken amulet was just heartbreaking. And Izzy's apology is not just about the amulet, right? It's about the lies, the manipulation, the fact that she totally broke Maya's trust. The story says it straight up that betrayal, in Maya's eyes, was worse than death. Wow. I mean, really think about that. What does it tell us about trust, about how important it is in any relationship?
I think it speaks volumes, doesn't it? It really underlines the fact that trust is the foundation of any real connection. Even when you have the best intentions, like Izzy trying to save her friend, breaking that trust, it can do so much damage. It's like sometimes the emotional wounds we inflict can cut way deeper, last way longer than any physical harm.
And it's this realization, this crushing realization that pushes Izzy to make a huge decision. She doesn't just accept that she can't predict the future. She decides to fight fate head on. That gift of hers, the one that's been like a curse, it becomes her weapon. She's not trying to dodge a specific outcome anymore. She's going to try to shatter destiny completely. That's a serious turning point for her.
It's such a compelling transformation. Izzy goes from being this victim of her visions to being someone who takes control, even if it means stepping into the unknown. That final image of her walking into the shifting mists of time like a warrior, it's all about taking back her agency, redefining who she is and what she's meant to do.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit, move our magical probe over to our second flash fiction story, Reflection of Ruin. Now, this one takes us down a very different path, one that explores that age-old desire to be someone else and the shadows that can hide within that yearning.
Yeah, and what makes Jamie, our main character, so relatable is his insecurity, his dislike of his own reflection. He looks at this other guy, Alex, his locker neighbor, and sees everything he wishes he was. Confident, popular, the whole package. I mean, haven't we all felt that way at some point, wishing we were someone else?
And then, boom, the catalyst for change appears.
Hmm.
An antique mirror, but not just any mirror, right? This one's got a surface that's always shifting, never quite the same. It screams mystery, hints at something beyond the ordinary. And Jamie, well, he's curious, sure, but also uneasy. I think we all know that feeling, right? Being drawn to something that might be dangerous.
Oh, yeah. And of course, the mirror is exactly as creepy as it seems. It turns out to be a portal to another reality, and in this reality, Jamie is everything he's ever wanted to be. Bolder, cooler, more self-assured. His first trip through the mirror, it's almost like a dream come true. A nicer house, a mom who's always happy, classmates who actually like him. It's that classic wish fulfillment fantasy.
But, like most wishes, there's a catch, and it's a big one. Remember Alex, the guy Jamie was so jealous of? Well, in this mirrored world, the other Alex is terrified of this new, confident Jamie. Not at all what Jamie expected, right? It's like a red flag telling him that this other reality isn't as perfect as it seems.
Yeah, that contrast is so important. It shows us that this other world, it's not built on admiration, it's built on fear. The cool Jamie isn't like, he's probably feared, and he probably uses that fear to get what he wants. It makes Jamie confront the dark side of the persona he was so eager to adopt.
And things get worse, too. See, while the other Jamie, the confident one, is thriving in the real world, soaking up all the attention, the real Jamie is stuck in this harsher reality. The shine wears off pretty quickly, and he starts to realize that this alternate life comes with a hefty price tag. He even describes it as intoxicating and increasingly wrong. You can practically hear the alarm bells going off in his head.
And then we meet Emily in this alternate reality, and she adds a whole other layer to the story. In Jamie's world, she's kind, artistic, someone he might have connected with. But here, in the mirror world, she's haunted, scared, drawing these creepy figures in her sketchbook. It's heavily implied that the other Jamie, the one who's now back in the real world, well, he's not as nice as he seems. And the fact that this switch has happened before, that's a whole other can of worms, right? Makes you wonder about the mirror's history, about the people it's hurt.
The moment when Jamie and his other self come face to face through the mirror, that's when everything really changes. The alternate Jamie, he's got zero remorse for the chaos he's caused. In fact, he seems to be enjoying the power, the control. He even says, "This world owes me." Like, he's entitled to everything, doesn't care who he hurts. It's such a stark contrast to our Jamie, who's realizing just how wrong this whole situation is.
It's interesting, though, right? It's not some big magical showdown that breaks the connection between the worlds. It's Jamie's kindness, his clumsiness even, his essential differentness from his other self. It's like the two personas just can't coexist.
And then finally, the mirror link shatters, sending Jamie back to his own world. It's a relief, for sure. Although that little comment from his mom about a dream of other worlds, that leaves you wondering if everything's really back to normal, Like maybe the lines between realities are a little bit blurry now.
And then back at school, there's this sense of resolution, but also you can tell things have changed. There's an awkwardness with Alex now, like maybe he picked up on something off about the other Jamie. But Emily, she's so relieved to see Jamie back, the real Jamie. It's like she knew something was wrong.
And the story ends with Jamie starting to accept himself for who he is. He's still the same quiet guy, but he's got this new strength inside him, born from that brief experience of being someone else. The mirror is gone, and Jamie realizes that the only path to real growth, real happiness, is his own path, flaws and all. That last line, his power lay in walking his own path, that's really powerful stuff.
Absolutely. So we've heard two very different flash fiction stories. What are your takeaways? With Izzy, did her trying so hard to control fate actually make it happen, just in a different way? And with Jamie, what do you think his experience tells us about wanting to be someone we're not?
It really makes you think about fate and free will, doesn't it? With Izzy, it feels like her fear and her meddling with time created this self-fulfilling prophecy, even though it wasn't exactly what she saw at first. It's like sometimes worrying about the future can actually shape it, not in a good way.
And with Jamie, wow, it's a reminder that appearances can be deceiving. The qualities we admire in others, they might have a dark side. Trying to escape who we are can lead us down some dangerous roads. True strength, it's not about being a copy, it's about accepting and growing into our own unique selves.
These stories, they're short, but they pack a punch. They give us this glimpse into the magical world, but also into those timeless dilemmas we all face, even without magic. Choices and consequences, the journey of finding ourselves, it's all there.
Totally. They make you think about destiny, identity, how our inner desires bump up against the world around us. They make you wonder, do we have more control than we think? Are our impressions of ourselves and others always accurate? Big questions.
If you're looking for more stories like these, be sure to check out the wizarding world of flash fiction. You never know what kind of wild tales and thought-provoking scenarios are out there waiting to be discovered.
And we hope this magical probe has given you something to think about. What other strange burdens might come with magical abilities? What other illusions might those enchanted objects be hiding? Lots to ponder.
Don't forget to rate and follow the Mary Potter Podcast for more captivating stories and magical probes into these fantastic worlds.
Thanks for listening.